Mhm.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Mid-Tier Thoughts. Today, me and Mike are joined by a very special guest. We'll introduce him here in a moment. Um, for those that don't know, real quick, I did just want to put this out real fast on my Instagram to keep the story going for a couple of days. I do have a friend that's been affected by some wildfires in the area. Basically, lost everything in the fire. So if you can give anything to the Give, Send, Go for him, that's very much appreciated. I'm going to have a link in the description for this too. But depressing stuff out of the way. Mike, how you been?
I've been good, man. I've been really chilling, really honing in on my craft over here of beating my meat and talking shit to my wife right now. So,
All right, for our special guest, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm Bart. I run an Instagram profile, Canon Funnel. I'm from Poland. I've been a gun geek since I can remember. I've learned how to shoot when I was 12. I've been airsofting for I think over 10 years now. Uh, I work in game development, so I make sure that guns and games are fun. At least that's what I do in my current job. Uh, yeah, that's pretty much about it.
very
Sweet.
interesting.
So for those that don't know, we kind of wanted to reach out to some of our listeners that were in other countries and kind of get their perspective on some of the things that we talk about. As Mike and I have mentioned before, we're always super humbled that we have such an amazing audience, especially an international audience. And so today we're going to be doing an interview with Bart here, and we're just going to kind of be picking his brain on what the Minuteman style lifestyle is in Poland, what gun culture is like, what it's like to buy a gun, how it compares to the U.S., how it compares to Europe, and we're even going to get into the effectiveness of airsoft for training because he does a lot of it. If you haven't followed him, go follow him on Instagram. He's been putting out a bunch of killer stuff lately. So, uh, so yeah, man. I guess let's start with the gun culture. Like, what's the gun culture like in Poland? Is there one?
Well, it is definitely starting happening from what I've saw. I've been living in Poland for 3 years since I came back from Scotland,
Okay.
and I've been slowly getting back into this. Um, so basically, we do have a gun culture. It's not a big one. Well, mostly due to the years of communism in Poland, when having a gun was considered something very dangerous to the government, and only people mostly connected to the government or claimed to be saved by the government could have guns. Then, after the fall of communism, that started changing, but mostly in the beginning, the community was focused around people who hunt. But right now, there's more and more people getting into the gun culture, especially with the rise of the gun culture 3.0, as with Lucas from T-Rex said. I think he said that sometime. So there's more and more people getting into the tactics, the gear, not only flat range shooting, uh, buying, well, what people would say military style rifles. There's a lot of great competition going in Poland. There is one called Light Infantry. It's been running for a couple of years. It is basically, from what I gathered, a Polish version of the Finnish brutality.
I've
Apparently,
seen.
it's a
I was gonna say I've seen videos on like Polnar Tactical. It has some
yeah,
long form videos of doing those. It looks like an insane competition. It looks awesome.
yeah. I think they're actually Polish. Those guys. At least that's what I've heard from a couple of people. I never checked. I've been following them for a while. I remember when they were still doing mostly airsoft, but now they moved more toward guns. Uh, Also, Poland basically have a very long history of gun manufacturing. We've been putting out some really good stuff, which is gonna be sort of bragging here and jerking myself off. We did the best 5.56 AK in the world after joining NATO in the 90s. Barrel is amazing. If you can get it, I think they're actually being sold in states, the civilian version of it. This is the best 5.56 AK out there.
Best of cancer. I love it.
Yeah.
Mike has very particular feelings about AKs and 5.56.
I like AKs. It's just I just don't like AKs in that platform. But if you're gonna be good at something, they're the best at it. They make the best one.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty crazy because like you don't really think about gun manufacturing and like how like Germany is one of the largest gun manufacturers with HK, things like that, but they really don't sell to a civilianized clientele. Like they don't sell to German citizens for the most part, I don't think.
Well, Germany is strange like that. I recently been talking with a guy I know from Germany, and I find out that they can't have weapon-mounted lights in Germany because for reasons
Because the
I don't
dark is
know.
scary.
That just
Same
seems
for
so.
like night vision. I think it's illegal in Germany to have night vision.
No joke.
See, like I could see the thinking behind night vision, but I don't understand the thinking behind the weapons light. I mean, like,
because it's tactical, bro.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I have a duct tape and I have a flashlight. You know what I mean? Like,
well, yeah, you can definitely do that. I mean, with Germany, I think, well, from my Polish perspective, with the German gun laws, I think this is just sort of, well, Germany's been very spicy last 100 years. So everyone's been trying to keep them not that spicy.
No more firearms for them.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I was like, from a Polish perspective, I'm sure you feel a certain type of way about that.
I mean, some of my friends are German, like that. That's in the past. You know, they did things that were terrible and awful. But the people that are living there have nothing to do with it now. At least most of them. I mean, I'm sure there are people who are proud of what their grandparents did, but fuck those people.
Being like any sort of anti-Semitic over there, or anything like that, is like crazy illegal.
Yeah, well, same in Poland, but I think it's pretty understandable.
Well, I mean, it's just weird coming from like the Americans' perspective, where we were on the opposite spectrum of that war. But you can be a neo-Nazi here; no one's gonna stop you.
Well, there are people who are definitely neo-Nazis in Poland, but yeah, it's a topic for an entirely different conversation.
Yeah.
I don't think you want to be listening about that.
I don't know. I'm kind of a racist. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
And
right.
Now we're banned
It's
internet.
completely different in states. Like, you know, in Poland, we have mostly, well, people from Poland and neighboring states. We don't get a lot of people of color in here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually, it makes no sense to be racist in Poland because
who you be
why?
racist to? We're all white.
Yeah, well, like pretty much. This is just how it is.
So I guess my question too then would be comparable to other like European nations. Would you say that like Poland is more gun friendly, is kind of on par with other places, like comparable to other parts in Central and Western Europe? Like, how would you compare Polish gun laws?
I mean, we don't have it bad in here. Especially comparable to Scotland and Great Britain, which are crazy and you can't own a butter knife without a permit. And you need to basically register airsoft. I mean, there is like a sort of it's not the actual permit or registration. You just like go to airsoft a couple times on a legal site, and you get like free stamps, you get your card, and then you can finally buy an all black airsoft gun. They kind of forget that spray paint exists.
What?
You can't get an all black airsoft gun without a special card that you show in the shop.
That is insane.
And you said that's in Scotland, right?
And Britain in general. So
okay, that's great. I knew their gun laws were rough, but I mean that's wow.
So you can't just like order like an all black airsoft gun online. Like you have to get these.
No, you need to. If you're ordering online an all black airsoft gun, if someone's from Britain is going to be listening to that and says I'm full of crap, that's okay. But from what I remember, you would need to put in your card number in the order to verify that you can legally own an all black airsoft gun.
Oh my god, dude! That's
bro.
insane.
1776 never looked so good.
Yeah, so basically in Poland, we don't have it bad. We can own, well, we don't need permits for airsofting. Let's start with that.
Okay.
It's beautiful. We can own weapon-mounted lights as well without any extra permits. We can own SBRs, which is kind of sweet.
Yeah, that is pretty dope. I will give that to Europe. The SBR laws are pretty there because like the way they look at it is a gun, right?
Yeah,
So,
basically.
yeah.
Like in Poland, there is a lawful definition of a weapon that is especially dangerous, which was a law that sort of prohibited owning suppressors. It is changing now. You can actually own suppressor. There is still a bit of confusion about like, can you carry a gun with a suppressor on it? But I think that's going to be changing in the next couple months. So it is also good. We don't have an ATF jail for a can waiting a year long to get a suppressor. So this is kind of good.
Oh, so you just buy it?
Yeah, basically, yeah. I think you need to have just a general gun permit to buy a suppressor. But yeah, if you're licensed to own a gun, you can own a suppressor.
So what goes into getting a gun permit? Like, can you just walk into a gun store and buy a firearm, or do you have to go through a class or something?
Well, depends on the type of the firearm. With the black powder and anything made before, I don't remember the exact cutoff date, but let's say 1900, you can just go in the store and buy yourself a Western-style revolver and go to the range and shoot it. So that's it. You just need to be over 18 years old.
Okay.
With regular firearms, right now we have types of permits. You get a sporting permit or collector's permit or a personal defense permit, which almost no one gets because you need to prove to the law enforcement that you are in special kind of danger to own a firearm for personal defense. And also, like, laws regarding using firearms for personal defense are completely different things in Poland, because we have a law that says that when defending yourself, you need to act accordingly to the attacker. So you can't shoot someone in the face if they jump out with a knife. Technically, you can go to jail for that.
That's so awesome. So you have to prove to them that they were going to murder you. Are you going to show them like a stab wound or like a bullet hole wound? Or
yeah. I mean, it's a whole thing. It's very difficult to actually defensively use a firearm, but also Poland is well, I would say a very safe place to live. So we don't really get a lot of cases of defensive use of firearms.
Okay.
Like,
interesting.
I've been living in Poland most of my life, except for 5 years in Scotland. Like the most danger I was in, there was like a drunk guy in a bus that threw an empty beer bottle at me. That was the most danger I've been in on the streets. So I would say it's relatively safe here.
Do you think that is due to the fact because you don't put yourself in those situations, or do you think Poland has like a lower drug use? Like American culture is we're very rich and we're very wealthy over here, so like people tend to spend their money on shit that they don't need, like methamphetamine, things like that. When you're robbing country, drugs are awesome.
I've never seen a rich meth head. I just got to throw that out there.
I've seen a few, but yeah, is it like just because the drug epidemic's not as bad over there? Do you think, like, or the culture is different, kind of like Japan?
I mean, I think it's a bit about culture and a bit about just not doing stupid things. I mean, it was different in the 90s in Poland when it was very dangerous. There was not a lot of law enforcement, and we had organized crime epidemic. Like, we had actual shootouts and like hitmen killing guys in shopping centers in the mall. Like we had that in Warsaw. Like, I think it was like late 90s, early 2000s. Like a guy got a bullet in the head from just a guy who was paid to kill him. But after the law enforcement caught up with this and the organized crime is not a big issue anymore, I would say it's relatively safe. Obviously, doing stupid things like going to a football game with a wrong kind of scarf will still get you in trouble, but I don't think you're in mortal danger.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's weird. It's a different demographic over here for sure when it comes to like self defense and like we Americans are very based on the probability of danger. So like all like if you go to Texas where like a lot of guns are legal, or like over somewhere else where it's like constitutional carry is legit,
Yeah.
like Florida, everyone carries guns. Everyone wants a gun.
So basically, to get a gun permit, I will be starting this process very soon for myself, actually. So basically, you need to be a part of an association. Is it like a collectors association or just like a shooting club? For a certain period of time, you get your first license, which basically says that you did the safety training, etc. Like you're doing matches, and then you go to the police. They do a background check, like general background check. They can do an interview with your neighbors, but well, if you're a normal person, that shouldn't be an issue. Then you need to take a police exam, which has the gun laws in Poland in it, general safety of using a firearm, and a practical test. You are doing shotgun, pistol, and a rifle on the practical test. It's not difficult to pass, and then that's it. You're getting your gun license. We have limits on the permits on how many firearms we can own. So when applying for a permit, you basically want to max that out. And then you get yourself a small book which has records of firearms owned and empty spaces for the firearms owned. And then you go to the shop with that and you get yourself a gun.
Interesting.
The whole process takes about anywhere between 6 months and a year. Costs about $400. And I would say it's pretty good. Like from what would probably some people call sensible gun control, whatever. I think this is an okay process of doing that. The limitation of the amount of firearms you can own is pretty dumb, but it is what it is. At least we can own SBRs.
I mean, we can. We just gotta pay.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I mean,
it's a
for
meme.
for legal purposes, this is a joke. But I mean, most of us have SBRs at this point
I know
because of the ATS most recent ruling. It's just
Yeah,
they may or may not be. For legal purposes, this is a joke.
Keep on saying it, for legal purposes.
But yeah, no, that's interesting. Like I always find it interesting to kind of compare like different gun laws like that across the country, and also like to see how different people feel about it. Because I think sometimes the American mindset, we're like, why is not everybody frustrated at this? You know, and other people have different opinions.
I mean, like from the gun control perspective, obviously, if someone really wants to get a gun, they will do it. I mean, there is no way around it. If you have money and connections, you will get yourself whatever you want. Especially with the war going on our border, and there's a lot of guns flying around, and I'm certain there are people who can get that. But in general, I would say the way it is organized in Poland, it is not keeping people from owning firearms. It is basically making sure that people who want to own firearms know what this is connected to. So they know their responsibility as a gun owner. They have basic understanding of how gun works, how the safety works, what are the general good practices of safety when handling a firearm. And if you do all of those things, you will get your license. So I would say this is not bad. Obviously, it could be better, But from the general standpoint, this is much better than what we had even a couple years ago, when you could have done all of those things that I've listed and then still not got your permit because the guy deciding on who gets a permit had a bad day or just didn't like the way you look.
Yeah.
So right now you just fill out the blanks, you pass all of the requirements, you're gonna get your license. So this is actually quite well thought, I would say.
Would you say that the current events in Ukraine right now have any kind of effect on the gun culture, or like,
definitely. For the first time in my life, I've seen adverts for shooting ranges in public spaces. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you think there's like, do you see people like starting to talk about like, hey, maybe I should start getting prepared for something, or like stocking up on stuff? Like, do you see any of those kind of conversations happening, or is it just kind of like, it is what it is?
Well, there's a lot of people that are getting interested in owning a firearm and learning how to shoot. There's obviously a lot of people that are interested in, learning basics of tactics, but the general population, I think, is, at least like when I'm talking with the guys at work, the general is like, the Polish government is not very popular with most of people. And a lot of people have strong feelings about that, and that they just don't really want to die for this particular government. It's not. It has nothing to do with the country and love of our homeland. It just has everything to do with shitty decisions made by our ruling class that could put us in danger.
Hey, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah. I was just always curious about that, about like how that is changing, and not, and not so much from like a military perspective, but just more from like, like people living in Poland, like, hey, what could happen? And then
at the beginning of the war, everyone was really scared, I would say, and there was like a couple moments I was thinking about bugging out and doing what I am planning to do, at least initially. But nothing really happened. We kind of got used to the living next to the war. It gets some getting used to. You don't really think about it a lot. Like I still follow the news, and obviously I still want the good guys to win, and fuck Russia.
I can get.
Well, historically, Russia is one of our greatest enemies in Poland, so fuck them.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you guys don't have a good track record together.
Yeah, and also this is something I've been talking with my girlfriend the other night. Like, we've been warning everyone for the last 10 years after they took Crimea. We've been warning everyone, like, you can't deal with them. Like, it is not a country you can reason with. Like, the only argument they will understand is tanks. And everyone just sort of said, no, like, that Putin is, you can reason with him. Like, he is a businessman. He just wants what's best for his country. He's definitely not going to do something like this.
Well, that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I think of the country that can lose 2 million men at Stalingrad and call it a win, I don't think reasonable.
Yeah, exactly. Especially that, like the guy's been in power for the last 20 years and nothing changed in Russia. Like, I don't understand like how people like we had so many governments, both in Poland and Britain and States. How the hell all of those people just sat down and said, yeah, we can trust this guy not to do this? It's just beyond me.
But okay, so the gun community in general, well, it doesn't sound too far away from just being like
sounds like California.
Yeah, it's like a lot like California.
Yeah, like comparatively. I mean, like, do you guys have magazine limits over there? Like,
no.
How many? So it's better than California. So
better than Washington right now.
Yeah. So in some aspects it's better, in some aspects it's not. So it's interesting to get that perspective.
Well, I have a question for you. When it comes to going across borders, because I know everything over there in Europe is so compact together. So do you have to do your kind of due diligence and make sure when you go out shooting in the woods and whatever it may be, you really stay within the limits of where you need to be? Or is it more of like once you own it, you have your permit, you can kind of go where you want with it?
Unfortunately, no, you can't really shoot on government land in Poland. You need to do this on designated ranges. Luckily, there is more and more interest in that, so new places are getting built up, both in terms of just regular flat range on like 50 meters, but also long range ranges when you can shoot beyond 100, 200 meters. Also, there is more and more interest in not only flat range LARPing, but also doing matches and shooting in a dynamic environments. So all of those businesses are coming up and they're doing well. There's a lot of interest in tactical shooting. I know it sounds cringe, but just slogan that people are using, so I'm just gonna go with it.
I can dig it. I can dig it.
Well, yeah.
So there's not a lot of area for where you can like openly like run around, do obstacles, do that kind of thing.
I mean, as long as you're not shooting, it's all right to do this, but you can't shoot on public land.
So like if you wanted to put on a ruck and go on like an armed hike,
Yeah.
you know, and like practice patrol movements or something with your buddies in the woods, like that's fine as long as you're not shooting.
Yeah, basically that. And also this is also kind of where airsoft comes in, because you never know who are you dealing with on the side of the law enforcement. So it is definitely easier than to deal with an overexcited guy who really wants to, put you away, take your permit away. It's just easier if you want to do an hike with kids. Just take an airsoft gun with you, because there's literally no laws forbidding you from doing so. And also in that case, you can just run exercises, just split your team and actually shoot at each other. Just try to do an ambush, try to do react to contact drills. So yeah. But generally speaking, yes, you can take your gun to a hike. As long as it's not loaded and you don't intend to fire it.
Mm-hmm. So
well, that brings go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I actually have a question about that. Is that something you have to be fearful of going on into the future after you get your permits and things? Is that someone can come along and be like, you know what, we just feel like you don't deserve this permit anymore, so we're going to come and take your guns?
No, you literally need to break the law to do this.
Okay. Oh, so that's just like America. Like you break the law, you become a felon, you lose your gun rights.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So going into the airsoft thing, that kind of bridges into our next topic. I know a lot of your stuff is kind of centered around airsoft and airsoft for training and the training value that airsoft brings, and that's where you've gotten a lot of like your comms training in and a bunch of your other stuff that you've done before. Do you kind of want to tell us like what your experience has been, like how you started off with that, why you do it, and what you see as like the potential training benefits of airsoft?
Well, what I started with was just me, couple guys I went to, I think, middle school with, and some really cheap plastic Chinese replicas, and just us running around and gunning at each other, which was fun at the time, obviously. Then I got a bit more into historical reenactment. So this is when I actually started getting interested in gear and putting kits together. This is where I've learned a lot of things about how you should do this. I came back to airsofting when I came back to Poland in 2020. This is when I started coming back to it big time. And this is also when I started doing it more seriously, focusing on doing things right, learning tactics, gaining experience, learning how to use comms, learning how to act as a team, and just basically focusing on the Milson side of the hobby instead of just running around and spraying plastics at people, which is obviously fun. And I still do that from time to time with people from work who are not interested in doing Milson stuff. And it's just a fun time. But for me, the main focus was basically getting fit and getting reps in.
Is there a pretty big? Are there like big events, like kind of like Milsim West, in Poland or in Europe in general that you go to, or do they have like an equivalent of that?
Well, generally speaking, we do have big events. There is a pretty large scale event called Border War in Czech Republic. There was, I think this year was the last edition, at least in the current state. We had a long running, large scale LARP focused on the Afghan war, which was called Mission Afghanistan. For the, well, Poland was a part of that. We did get a lot of experience from that war. And the event was actually created by vets that came back from Afghanistan.
Oh, interesting.
That's been running for about 10 years. This year's edition, I think it was about, I don't remember the exact number, but a couple hundred people.
Okay.
With vehicles, with night optics, night ops. Unfortunately, things came up, couldn't go. So this year, I've been focusing more on small events and actually finding people to train with.
Yeah.
There's also another Afghan war themed event that is actually this weekend, I think, or next weekend. Also, like a couple hundred people, ops at night, organized comms from, I think, squad level to platoon level with central command posts and everything that goes with it. So those are the two main events that at least been of interest to me. There is a couple smaller ones that are more on the LARPing side than Milsing side. There's also an organization in Poland that started off as an airsofting group. Then they started doing things with the Polish Ministry of Defense. And right now they're running a couple times a year. They're running like basically an events that are co-organized with Polish military. They're using the Polish military training grounds, and the military is giving them access to vehicles and stuff. And this is actually kind of fun as a concept, because first of all, well, the military can show the young impressible people how cool they are, and maybe that's something you want to do. But in the other side is also a chance for a lot of people to do combined ops with vehicles, tanks. Well, without air support, I don't think they ever given them any air. Yeah, but they've been giving them like armored vehicles, tanks, trucks, etc. So
yeah. I'm just imagining like
cool.
I'm just imagining like little Timmy didn't call his hits. I'm calling in an airstrike.
Well, yeah.
That's pretty cool, though. That's really interesting to see, especially to get like the military involved with that. I think that would be like actually a really good recruiting tool. I'm kind of surprised we don't do something like that here.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
no way, because we're tactical. We're super top secret. You can't know our stuff.
Like you're doing TikToks and e-girls. Like this is just cooler than people actually doing stuff.
Yeah.
Way more important.
Yeah, we have to make sure that we have commercials to let you know that the Army recruit had 2 moms. So
yeah,
because that's important. That's what makes you a good soldier. Yeah, no, that's interesting. That's really interesting with that. So like from my perspective, like following your Instagram stuff, it really seems to me like a lot of the things I like about it is that basically you're using airsoft, from my perspective, in a way to test out kit and different like parts of things that you need, all like, so that way whenever you do have your rifle, like it's just an easy transition.
Yeah. And also I actually I am planning on doing some content about it, but I actually really like the idea of using airsoft kit just to try out things. I mean, kit is expensive, obviously. Like,
Yes.
not everyone can afford like even the cheapest Cry Precision plate carrier or like Spiritus on Ferro or whatever. But you can get decently made airsoft copies of those. And thanks to that, you can try things out. And when you're going to be transitioned to a real thing, you know what you want to get and you're used to using that kit. So it not only saves you money in the long time because you won't be buying 4 different plate carriers and before you find the one that you really like, but also you're getting reps in with that kit. And that's something that I think really matters, getting those reps in. Because you don't want to be in a situation when you're just running something for the first time and you figure out, I can't reach this. This is pinching me in the back. I fucking hate this.
Yeah. Honestly,
I think.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, no, I feel like that is a super undervalued thing that we have at our disposal, especially being here where we can get real guns and kit, things like that. Is that more people need to take advantage of the cheaper route, and also like the more like go test your gear kind of route of the stuff, and to be able to feel it out, to be able to actually wear it and run it and see if you even like it is an incredible tool that we need to use more often.
Yeah, especially that, with how the gear industry works right now, and like we're getting a new big thing every couple months. Like last year, that was the Recce rig from Grantham. Nope. I think it took guys in China a month to put together a Chinese version of that rig.
Yep.
Which was a fraction of the price. And while I enjoyed the design of the Recce rig, I just, in good faith, I can't spend that kind of money on it without actually getting it in my hands beforehand, even in lower quality, just to see, do I actually like it?
Yeah.
No, I think that's a super solid point. I mean, like, when you look at like some of the Haley strategic stuff and you're like $400 for a chest rig, it becomes kind of hard to justify that money, especially if you don't have one on hand. At least for me, it does. Like if you don't have one on hand to test out, because you're like, what if I spend $400 and then I hate it?
Yeah, and then someone on the internet give it a bad review and you won't sell it.
No joke. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
It was some fucking guy's gonna come along and be like, "Oh, I've had better chest." Like Lucas Botkin's gonna be like, "I've had better chest rigs," and then no one wants to buy it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense to like go to Amazon and get like the Jingzhou knockoff just to see if you like the setup.
Yeah.
Right. Obviously, understanding there's going to be a quality difference, but I mean, like, maybe you're a bigger dude and you put it on and you're like, yeah, I don't like the way this sits. I don't like how it's, or like the big thing right now is like the chest rigs that are super flat and tight to the body.
Yeah.
And I remember like 5-6 years ago, everyone had the chest rigs that had like 3 mag holders on them, and you were just wearing everything up front. Going prone was impossible.
Yeah.
And it's like, so trends change with that too. And if you're going to try to keep up with that, it's a lot easier to spend, $40 on Amazon and get one to test out to see if you even like the concept than to drop $400 and then be like, yeah, this sucks.
This is actually another thing that kind of annoys me when I'm looking at this. Maybe just I'm too poor for being a tactical guy. I don't know, but like trains change, but needs don't. So if you found something that you like, just run it till it dies. You don't need a new $400 chest rig every 2 years.
Right? No, don't tell me how to live my life. All right,
I mean, obviously, like if you want this and you can afford it, like good for you. You're doing great with your life. Fucking go for it.
Yeah.
But a regular job probably can't afford a $400 chest rig every 2 years, especially that you can put those $400 to better use. Like you can buy food, water, or ammo. Get a quality training for this.
Go train. Go train.
It's the gun world equivalent of the new iPhone.
100%. Yeah.
Everyone has to go out, and they there's a reason why like all the cool people have some new piece of kit, and you're like, what is that? That's so rad. I want to be a hype beast like the Grand Thumb or Admin Results or whoever I'm watching today. Like, dude, that's so sick. I mean, it's like when T-Rex Arms came out and was like, M81 Woodland pattern is like the pattern to go to, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, how much of this is him making a solid point, and how much of this is he got a killer deal on M81 Woodland, and now he has to sell it?
Yeah,
That is true. Yeah.
And then you just see everyone who's like, well, I had all my kit and multicam, time to go buy a bunch of M81 Woodland.
Oh, it was Ranger Green. Ranger Green was like the shit like a year or two ago.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's like it's all trends, and you get people that want to be with the trendy people. They want to, they want to make sure that everyone knows they're cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, like I watch those guys. I like those guys, and I really appreciate what they're doing. But yeah, like there's no other way to say it. But like it's a selling platform for companies.
Yeah, you got to take it with a grain of salt and understand that they've got a job to do, and they got to put food on their table, which means they got to sell you a product. And some of their stuff is really awesome, some of it maybe not so much, and you don't have to buy everything. You can follow them without buying things.
Yeah, exactly.
You can support them by buying a T-shirt if you really want to support them.
Yeah, well, and I just think it's.
Like with the T-shirts, I've been really angry about a T-shirt from Onward Research for some time because it's a $30 T-shirt. I'm okay with paying those money because the design of the graphic is really cool, but they're just point blank telling you that you can get a polyester T-shirt. Like they have no choice, so it's not gonna be a cotton T-shirt, which I'm okay with paying $30 for it if it's cool. But I'm definitely not okay with paying $30 for a polyester T-shirt.
I hit a soft spot. I'm the same exact.
Yeah, no, it's wild. Well, it's like okay, so there's a company like 100 Concepts, right? They make the light caps. They make the light caps where it looks almost like a scope cover, but you put it on your flashlight. Yeah. It's literally like a used scope cover piece with 2 holes drilled in it and paracord, like bungee paracord.
Yeah.
And they charge like $75.
You gotta make a living, man.
And I'm like I'm like, dude, this is BS. I took my one of my red dots, how they come with like the little rubber covers.
Mm-hmm.
Cut the cover off, right? So it still has a little bit of the string on it, or a little bit of the wiggle rubbery part that looks like string on it. Yeah. Taped it to the flashlight. Same thing. Did it for free. Guess who saved $75? Like, that's the thing. I'm like, how is that $75? You have like 50 cents in parts.
Well, when you sell to the right people, man, you got the hook.
Yeah,
exactly. That's the thing that gets me, man.
No one's gonna buy it if it's gonna be $5, but if you charge 75 for it, then is the next big thing in hiding top of the flashlight technology.
Yeah, and then you get a couple people running it, get a couple people like Grantham and then Lucas Bockins that run it on their rigs, and people will be buying it like crazy.
Well, yeah, because you can give it away to them for free, and all it cost you was 3 cents.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, that was what I was going to ask you. For firearms in Poland, is there like a crazy like, are they super expensive? Are they comparably priced? Like I've heard things before about like some other countries, just like you can buy a gun, but they're way more expensive.
Well, I've got the laptop in front of me, so let's say, how much is Glock 19 in States right now?
500.
Yeah, about 500-ish, depending on where you're at.
All right. Well, yeah, they're more expensive. I'm just looking at Glock 19 Gen 4. It costs
Gen 4. Ew.
Yeah, it costs $760. So. Yeah, for Gen 4.
For a Gen 4 here, it would probably be closer to $400.
People hate Gen 4s.
Well, it is what it is. Yeah, generally speaking, if they're imported from states, they're gonna be more expensive. If they're made in Europe, they're gonna be comparably cheap, but also the market is much smaller, so shops need to charge you more to make a living.
So I have a question for you. So you know how like you come over to America or anywhere you go and we're like, oh, this is a real, you know, like Polish AK, or this is a real Turkish shotgun, you know, like we really get hyped over the country that they come from. Over there, do they go, this is like an American Glock, or this is an American Daniel Defense? Like, are they hyped about it was made in?
No, not really. Like, I mean, we're not hyped about like an old beaten up Polish AK because like
people over here in America would give their left nut for shit.
Like before the war, you could get one for like $250. So yeah,
bro,
this is what they costed before the war. About like 250, 300 tops if it was in good state. Obviously, you're gonna have people that are excited about, like, you know, getting a Daniel Defense M4. I understand that they're dope and they're iconic. But generally, people are more focused about just the general quality of it instead of just focusing on the brand or in the country of origin.
Oh, okay.
So I have a long-running discussion with one of my friends because he's always laughing at me because, well, probably because of the pop culture in the 90s and early 2000s. I've always been really enthusiastic about states, and as you know, Austin, because we talked, I want to move there eventually. So obviously, when I'm looking at kit and I'm looking at not airsoft kit, just real kit, the first thing I'm looking at is things that are made in states. So it's gonna be like Surefire, Trigicon, etc. Like the big guys. And obviously we have Aimpoint in Europe. They make awesome stuff. Like they're great, and I think they're from Sweden. But the first things I would be looking at are gonna be things made in states, because in my mind as a person, this is where, you know, you have the biggest industry, and well, people must be doing good shit, because since they've been going on this for so long, they must be doing this something well.
And doing something right.
And then there was my friend who just sort of goes for, like, you know, the most reasonably priced thing that's gonna do the job. Like he doesn't care about much about, like, you know, liking something 100% or designing something 100%. If it does the job and doesn't cost you a kidney, is the best choice.
Yeah,
I understand that. Obviously, this is like I would love to be more like this, because it would probably save me money in the long run. But yeah, it is what it is.
I understand your pain, brother. You're talking to someone with Daniel Defenses and EO techs and shit. So I totally get you.
Yeah, like they're awesome. Like, I really want one.
Yeah, like assuming that the attachments and things like that probably go for a little bit more over there as well. Like over here, you can hop on some sort of like Craigslist for guns and find EO techs for like $300-$400, or like all the way down to like $100, depending on the version of it. Do they have that over there in Poland? Is there like a large collection of people like, oh, I have all this shit that I don't really need?
Well, we do have secondhand market, which is decent.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the stuff that you can get for cheap is obviously going to be like Polish surplus and airsoft stuff. It is kind of difficult to find quality US made stuff. But, well, I don't know, like secondhand EOTech XPS is going to be costing about like 800. Yeah, something about 800. Like I've seen one for about 800 the other day.
Oh my god, dude!
Yeah.
Yikes! Yeah,
That's crazy. That's insane. Yeah.
Yeah. So also this is something that keeps a lot of people from getting into shooting, at least in my opinion. It's just expensive. Like this is why we don't have a bigger community, because like the average salary in Poland, according to the government, is 1,700 bucks a month. This is the average before tax. So let's
Wow.
1,500.
yeah. So different.
Wow.
Holston, I bet Holston's pretty popular over there then, though.
Yeah, it is definitely, and All Light and the other, sort of Chinese-made, decent-ish stuff.
Yeah.
And this is also like why there is a lot of people that are buying Turkish guns, because they're cheaper. Like Panic is going to be cheaper than Glock, so people's going to buy it. There's a lot of people buying Czech firearms in Poland. Like they just like it, and they're cheaper than Glocks. And for a lot of people, they're just better than Glocks, at least in their opinion. I shot a couple Czech pistols, didn't like it. I just want the Glock.
Yeah, you said I'll check real stuff.
It's always funny because, like, the meme in the States is like, if you buy a CZ pistol, like you're just trying to be a hipster. You're just trying to be different, like you just got to be that guy. And so it's funny to hear, like, over in Poland, everyone's like, yeah, they're just cheaper, so that's what we're going with.
And also, like, there's a lot of people that are, they're obviously joking, but like a joke I've heard a couple times, like, if you're using a Glock over a CZ, you're gay. Just that. Like, Glocks are gay.
Hey, it is the only firearms manufacturing website where I can buy both a gun and a 5-gallon bucket of horse semen at the same time.
Well, I think it's pretty base. Like, guns and horses mix well.
I just imagine walking in to go pick up my gun at the gun store, like after having it shipped, and they're just like, there should be something else with it. They just pull out a 5-gallon bucket.
Yeah,
I don't know if you're being facetious with that, but
and I'm like half tempted to actually order this now. I'm just curious about the packaging.
I want to know what it comes in.
like,
Pun intended.
Horses are awesome, and I would really love to see in next couple of years gun community getting into horse riding, because I think it's a great thing and it has a lot of uses, especially for people that are homesteading and growing their own food. Well, horse feed is cheaper than gas.
Yeah, we call that Montana. That's what.
I figure.
I was gonna say, I was like, in my head, I just hear like the winged hussars arrived in the background, just consistently as soon as you started talking about horses.
Yeah, the horses are cool. I've been getting convinced to start taking riding classes recently.
No, I think that's a good point though. I mean, like it is a mode of transportation that you don't need gas for.
Yeah. And also, you look fucking cool.
Everyone looks cool.
There is that.
Like I've seen a picture on Instagram. I don't remember who that was, and I would love to give him a shout out, but I just don't remember. But like, there was a picture of a guy with an AR nods on a horse. It was just cool as fuck.
Well, it's like, have you seen the movie 12 Strong?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, that's just immediately where my mind went. Was Chris Hemsworth all tacked out on a horse, and I was like,
yeah,
it's literally me, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, man. Well, hey, it's been great to have you on here. It's been really interesting to get your perspective. Was there any closing thoughts you wanted to go ahead and throw out?
Don't laugh at people with Chinese kids. They're just trying things out.
No, they're poor.
It's just a phase. It's just a phase, Dad.
Hey, we all started somewhere, right?
Exactly.
We all start somewhere. I'm just as guilty. I've had plenty of cheap crap that I've gone through because I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
Or I couldn't afford.
I'm gonna be doing some stuff on like very cheap kits soon, hopefully. I'm getting some stuff shipped from States, mostly Ali's and cursed OCP mollies. But
Hey,
don't worry, I'm gonna paint them green and make Marpat at home.
Hell yeah.
I say I'm a big defender of Alice kit. I'll defend Alice kit.
Is awesome. Like me and a buddy of mine are gonna make chest rigs with Alice.
So
Bart,
that'd
be dope.
Bart, if you don't mind me asking, like, is it okay if we have you on some other time as well?
Definitely.
Yeah, I want to stay away from. I want to stay away from like what our countries and stuff like that, and just more talk about gear preparation, things like that. I think I would be really awesome. Pick your brain about.
Definitely, would
For
be
sure.
great.
All right.
Well, hey,
thank you so much.
Yeah, it was great to have you on, man. Like I said, I always appreciate an outside perspective of something from outside the United States, and I think I look forward to talking to you more about other subjects as well, and having you on again. So thanks for taking the time to join with us. I know the time difference is a bit of a hassle, but
that's right.
Really appreciate
I'm gonna add you on Instagram ASAP and just start sending you the most cursed shit. All right.
Yeah, please do. Like, if you've got like any UFO alien content, you can always just send it my way. I love this shit.
Yeah,
I've been watching that congressional hearing about this the other day at work. Like, just as a something to have it in the headphones.
All right, guys. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Perfect. All right. Well, thanks for joining us. Everyone else has been Mid-Tier Thoughts. And thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Yeah.